Hello, my name's Paula Cunningham and I'm coming to you from my kitchen in Belfast, and I'd like to thank Paul Maddern and Stephen Gordon for all the work they have put into this, and indeed everybody at the John Hewitt Society for making this possible. And it's been a real joy each week to look at and listen to the clips that have been broadcast thus far. So thank you very much. And I'd like to read 4 shortish Belfast poems, and the first one I've chosen is a translation of a poem that has been much translated. It's probably from the 9th century. It's been translated by quite a number of Irish poets, and I'd like to read Frank O'Connor's translation, and he calls it The Blackbird by Belfast Lough. What little throat has framed that note? What gold beak shot it far away? A blackbird on his leafy throne tossed it alone across the bay. This last couple of months I've been spending ridiculous amounts of time online, and this next poem reflects that, and I should say there are other platforms. Some things I am finding on Zoom, April 2020. That the yellow frame is a poor indicator of interest. How nobody knows what goes on in the waiting room. That waving and meaningful peering are equally fruitless. How muteness may be selected or imposed. That the layout of every participant's panes will differ in gallery view. How nobody ever knows who owns the blackbird. That people in rural Tyrone are frequently frozen. How to gaze past the edge of the screen is to enter confession. That you, without question, are leading the crawl to accomplish a multiple chin. How there's chicken skin on my neck I might never have noticed. That I cannot now unknow this. How in our times we've never felt this seen. That the eye is less deniable than the ear. How the griefs we're avoiding are loitering north of the screen. St Malachy's Church is one of my all-time favourite churches. It's in the centre of Belfast, close to the markets, and it's got this wonderful ceiling, and it's just a really beautiful church. And this poem was written for my friend Marty Crickard and his wife and family at St Malachy's Church. I came to light a candle for a friend, but Jesus had a really bad moustache, and those were only pinpricks in his palms, so I passed on. I came to light a candle for a friend, but Joseph's hands were manicured and soft as very liquid hands. I could not light one there, so I passed on. In the corner was a fellow with a coiled robe and a tonsure like a saucer. He palmed a young and curly blonde Adonis, so I passed on then to Benoit Joseph Labre, a tattered man whose wide eyes blazed. He looked quite mad, had beggar's hands. I liked him. I lit 24 candles, didn't pay, and nicked this book on him before I left. I did all this in honour of my matchless absent friend, whose honest, calloused workman's hands maintained the half of Belfast, and nothing's been the same since he passed on. And I'll finish with a poem called A History of Snow, and it should be read in a strong Belfast accent, which I don't have, but I'll do my best. A History of Snow. It was wild sudden. Her daddy phoned me to work. She was that hot he just had a sheet over her. I felt the heat before I lifted the sheet and seen the rash. You'd never forget that rash. People say to me, how would you know? And I just say, you'd know if you seen it. Purple. The wee spots on these big blotches like birthmarks, everywhere only her face. Her wee lady and all. I phoned and they said, do the glass test. I pressed really hard on her bawling, but it didn't change, so we brung her up. There was this old man in the queue, very wheezy. He said to the girl, "I want them to see this child before they see me." And within 2 minutes we're in the ambulance. She was bouncing up and down on the trolley. You wouldn't believe it, like something out of The Exorcist. The doctor come and he told us, prepare for the worst. She's a bit of hearing loss, that's all. In big rooms like, but she's grand. They say it'll all come right. The ear adjusts. Her daddy brung her in snow in a lunchbox. She'd never seen it before. They'd pushed her cot right up to the window, the flakes sweeping past like confetti, a bit of a rose in her cheeks, and her all eyes. The cars in the car park were buried in minutes. It was one snowy evening. The whole of the country froze. She'd been in 4 weeks, and I mind she was eating an orange. A mandarin one of the nurses had peeled. That's when I knew she really was on the mend. They said if it had even been 5 minutes later, I think of that old man yet. Thank you very much.